Hello, friends. 766 days of war between Russia and Ukraine. In southern war zone on Kherson front, no changes. On Zaporizhia front, artillery duels continuing and positional battle taking place in southeast outskirts of Rabotino, where Russians have control over 15% and towards northwest of Verbo. In Rimivki salient, Ukrainians carried out counterattack towards Staromayorsky to repulse Russian army advance. They succeeded to some extent, but the situation was back to previous one, and Russians are continuing inching forward here. In north towards Kupian Swato front, fight for Senkiuka continues. However, no changes. Towards Liman Terny direction, fight continues east of Terny and in Serebryansky forestry. No significant changes, though Ukrainians bridgeheads on eastern bank of Jeherebets river is facing threat in near future. Coming to east on Soledar Siversk regions, Russian army carried out offensive operations on the flanks of Rozdolivka and they are pushing Ukrainians towards Sukha Plotva river and advanced almost 700 meters. On Bakhmut front in northwest, Bohdanovka Russians are fighting in the center of this village, made some gains, and they carried out strong offensive operations towards Krasnoye, that is Ivanovsky, and counterattacks by Ukrainians did not succeed. The fight towards Chasiv Yar continues, and this particular establishment has been under heavy shelling by the Russians. In southern flanks, Klishivka, Russian army made some minor gains. Avdivka front in the south towards Pervomaiske, Russians made offensive operation and advance almost 200 meters. Nonetheless, this must be remembered that this is sixth or seventh time they have advanced here, and the situation is like pull and push or like ping pong. However, they are holding 70% of Pervomaiske, and towards Nevelsky also they made some gains towards the southern part. West of Avdivka towards Tonenko, Russian army carried out offensive operations west of this village towards Yazno Brodovka and also inside the city, made some gains from the eastern part towards Umensky. Orlivka, Russians' offensive operation continuing towards Semyonovka and got foothold in the southern part of this establishment. Berdychi, fierce battle continuing, and Russians advanced approximately 100 meters. Now, Ukrainians' reserves are pouring in here. They want to stabilize this particular front. And Russians also advanced towards the forest belt east of Semyonovka, and they advanced almost 200 meters deep on a 750 meters wide range. As of now, they hold almost 80% of Berdychi. Marinka in south, Russians advanced in Novomykhailivka almost 550 meters in the center, where they hold 50%, while in Pobeda the fight continues. No changes. West of Marinka, that is Georgievka, fight continues and Russians made some gains, while in the north towards Krasnogorovka, minor gains for the Russians, but overall no changes. Heavy interdiction mission continuing from the Russian side more than a week now, and they launched combined attacks in Ukraine using long range air, sea, land based ballistic missiles, also used drones. Targets are now power and air defense facilities. Ukrainians continue shelling, bombing against Russian targets, including both civilian and military, like Belgorod and others. Palestine Israel Middle East in brief. In North Gaza, IDF operation at Al-Shifa hospital continues, while in southern side, IDF carried out raids in Al-Amal and Al-Karara areas and on the outskirts of Khan Yunis and also Rafah. West Bank, Israeli forces continue raiding Palestinian populations. In Jerusalem, there were huge protests by both Palestinian and Israelis demonstrating against Netanyahu. IDF also carried out airstrikes in Aleppo, that is Iraq. Huge demonstrations are continuing in Amman, that is Jordan, 6th or 7th day against Israel. Demonstrations by the farmers and workers continuing in Europe and other parts of the globe, on and off. Of course, the demands are limited, which is economic and to little extent political, that repression against them must be stopped. Otherwise, they no revolutionary agenda yet, because the so-called revolutionary parties are satisfied with the present protests, demonstrations, rallies, etc. They are not looking for change of the system itself. This is because of their organizational weakness and, of course, lack of revolutionary ideologies. Well, that brings to an end, friends. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow.